I don't just look at one object. I like to look at the space around it. Like a person uses a pencil and paper, I'm using materials in space. I'm creating a language. I'm creating some kind of language that expresses my frustration, whether that's war, whether that's politics. But it's good for me as an artist because I can let it go. I don't have to carry it. So now it becomes a form. Now the ring stands on itself rather than the material. So that's sort of the beginning. If you start anywhere on this ring and you call it the ring of life, you're going to go around the ring, live your life, and you're going to come back to where you began. This piece first started when COVID happened, and I was confined to basically just being in the studio and thinking about my life. And so I sort of thought about this trip on a boat of my life, like traveling around through all the different years that I've been working. The piece is named Rudder. This piece is sort of a culmination of a little bit about the history of my travels. And I don't necessarily mean physical travels, but travels of how ideas change in the studio and things like that. So that's how the piece got its name, Rudder, and it took about a year and a half to 2 years to finish. My father was a butcher, and my mother stayed at home, and we ate together every night at the table. No cell phones. They always supported me in whatever I was doing artistically. You know, I come in every day, I come into work, I look at this wall and it's so full of memories and takes me in and out. It's like a weaving of going in and out of your history, of your life. All this stuff means a lot, you know. This is when I was at the Rome Prize paper, and there's all of us sitting out there at the Academy. When I was in Italy in the 71 to 73, my parents came over and my father came, and it was really special for him because, you know, his family was from Italy. When he came to Italy, he said, "I don't care what you do or how much money you make. Just love what you do." And I'll never, ever forget that. Rome was a turning point in my life. It was a grant called the Prix de Rome, and they give you a beautiful studio, they give you money, and they give you food. Yeah, I mean, can't complain. And they introduce you to all kinds of different artists passing through. I spent a week with Leonard Bernstein. I spent a day with Isma Noguchi. I spent another day with Louis Kahn, the architect. So they're trying to expose you. You don't have to work. They give you the opportunity to work. And I love that word, opportunity. Some people would travel, but I chose to be at the Academy. It was incredible. It changed my life. And the Italian passion for life, you know, everything in Italy. Now, I've always thought a sense of humor is important. You know, and a lot of times when things are rough, I try to laugh about it because I mean, it's too easy to get angry, you know, it's too easy to get depressed. Yeah, I had a studio about 20 minutes from here that was turn of the century barn, built in the late 1800s, beautiful, 2 floors, 5,000 square feet. If I took you in there, took anybody in there, they would be able to see what my life was like the last 50 years because I had so much stuff. And 5 years ago, it caught on fire. And I raced there and it was smoke and I ran in and couldn't breathe, ran out. And 9 fire engines and 3 days later, they finally put it out. And everything was lost. So it was really a shock, but what amazed me about it is that I wasn't overly affected emotionally. I seem to take it in a stride. The art is an ingrained, functional way that you live your life. It's not just the objects you make, it's everything. Problem, solution, problem, solution. I knew I didn't want to stop making art. I mean, I can't imagine stop making art. Well, I got the tools, I got back to work, I picked things up. I mean, I'm not saying it was easy, but I knew that I wanted to continue working with art. I think we're capable of all these adjustments. We don't have to be in a perfect situation. This piece is hard because it's labor intensive. I don't have the strength that I had at 18 or 19. I don't have the physicalness. So what I do, problem solution. I create a boom system for the problem, and that's my solution. And the solution isn't just a technical solution of how something goes together. It's how I'm thinking about the piece overall, the concept. Here's a restriction, so how can I get around that restriction? Or how can I change the idea or present the idea a different way? So yeah, restrictions are just parameters that are very healthy. They don't have to be the end of anything, you just bounce around it. The art becomes a language. Each piece is a segment of my life. Yeah, life's complicated. It's easier for me to talk about the issues that bother me or make me happy than to just not talk about them. I'm going to eventually go back to where I began. So there is that sort of feeling about, a world or just your life in general, the life ring. That represents what you might run into during your life travels. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about being involved in the arts is it goes all the way, the length of your life. It's not just a segment of your life. Artists don't retire. You create till the day you die. And that's why it's important that you love what you do. You love what you do, you don't age. You stay young. Art keeps you young. So now that Rudder's finished, because it took a long time to do, and it was labor intensive, I've decided to work on the wall with panels that are 48 inches by 63 inches. And they're just a wooden panel that I built onto now. So they're quicker, it's easier for me to let an idea come and go, and it's not as labor intensive. And I'm just as happy with it. I don't think I'm sacrificing anything. It's just another way of working. Piece about Ukraine, and the metal is from a roof of a studio of mine that burned down, and the heat caused it to crunch up. So I'm incorporating this sort of chaos and violence, the same thing that's in Ukraine that destroyed my building, the destruction of that. And we have the pear, which represents so-called peace talks that never seem to happen. The black pear, we have a jet airplane, and the black zone, and we're trying to get, the only thing that comes out of this is the hope of the people, which is still the wheel that hasn't been destroyed or burned. So there's a lot of metaphor in here, a lot of symbolism, but I like this piece very much. Mm-hmm. And again, this is the live zone, where the things are alive. This is the dead zone, the things have been destroyed.
What about these other pieces?
Yeah, this piece is just, I'm not sure about this piece, but I think it's me, it's an image of me trying to get away from things that I'm trying to run away from. It's a house, it's a boat. A boat has always been a metaphor for me for freedom because the oceans are so big. So I like this piece very much. It took some time to develop, but I like the ring. Ring's not centered, it's almost off the board. So we'll see what happens.